performing ballet requires both of these qualities, the idea of artistry and the idea of athleticism. And it's always, to me, as I make work, it's always about how do we balance those two and what portion of each should we take and bring together to create a kind of movement.
I worked with Justin Peck at San Francisco Ballet during my last season with the company. Before I retired, I came to Atlanta Ballet, and I had such a great experience working with him, being in the studio when he created a work on us. And I wanted to share that experience with our dancers here in Atlanta and with the audiences.
A lot of his choreography, there are differences, but he kind of does have a staple. You can kind of always tell a Justin Peck work when you see a Justin Peck work. So kind of getting into that groove, his style, kind of how he likes his musicality, and getting into all those types of things was just really exciting and kind of exhilarating for me.
It's very interesting to see how Justin Peck works and how he puts Balanchine style through his body and what it becomes. Plus he adds extras. Increases, for example, was one of his first works on New York City Ballet. I think one of the most powerful as well, because he accumulated all that energy, all that experience based on Balanchine technique and stuff, that he put it through himself and spit it out onto dancers that are great dancers, strong dancers. And it was a really tour de force type of work for 8 dancers. There's so much energy, physicality, it's huge impact. Emotional impact as well, and them working as a group and at the same time being individuals, very strong individuals. That work simply took me to a new place, and if I would be dancing, I would love to dance it, so I wanted to bring it to Atlanta Ballet dancers.
So Increases is the first dance that I ever created for New York City Ballet. It was created for 8 amazing dancers, kind of an ensemble of soloists who have to work together to bring this sort of team spirit and this level of camaraderie to the performance. It's set to Philip Glass's amazing piece of music. It's 4 movements for 2 pianos. And I was really drawn to this piece of music because, Philip Glass's music has been used quite a bit in many dance works by many different choreographers, and so I was hesitant to work with his music, but then I found this piece that to me stood out as being slightly different from a lot of the work that he had written in the past, and just thought it had amazing energy to it and variety and kind of percussive nature to it, and just made for this like great sort of blueprint to build an entire ballet off of.
I am a repetitor for Justin Peck, and that means that I got to come down here to Atlanta Ballet and teach them an entire Peck work from the ground up. Tell them formations, counts, obviously steps, but then also to help them sort of find their way and experience the whole life that's within this individual ballet.
Having the opportunity to dance a ballet that is then brought is always exciting because you get to share your own personal experience with the dancers and artists. Working with Michael Breenan in the studios has been really fun to see from an outside perspective of what I once felt as a dancer. And Increases is it's a very fun piece to work on. It starts with a lot of high energy from day one. So the process is just really hit the ground running to try and capture Justin Peck's movement qualities and energy.
Increases is pretty exceptional because it was Justin's first major commission, and it's also a masterpiece. The energy increases throughout the work, but then also you're literally watching him explore formations in creases. You know, you're watching the opening in particular is this sort of like kaleidoscope. And so it's one formation folding or creasing into the next over and over.
One of the things I love about Increases is it has a kind of purity of movement. So it still kind of has this timeless quality to it after all these years.
So working in the studio with Michael, he starts first by teaching the actual steps. And then often as a dancer, when you start to feel more comfortable with the choreography, the natural thing to do is really push in physical energy. And one of Justin's qualities as a choreographer is really about the feel of a piece. So it's really about layering. One of the most difficult things about Increases is you really have to use a lot of technique at speeds that a dancer is not often used to using. So it really is about finding the calm within all of the energy that Justin is asking for. So in terms of process of working in the studio, it really is about finding the choreography, finding comfortability within that work, and then really kind of taking it down energy-wise to really articulate what Justin Peck is looking for.
It's a really interesting story about how Some Stravinsky came about. Actually, Peter Boal had been planning a Stravinsky festival for the company in Seattle, and he asked me if I would create a work to Stravinsky. Now, Stravinsky was not a composer that I had immediately been drawn to, and so this was, I thought, a great challenge for me. You know, his work is very difficult to count, it's really intricate, and I really couldn't land on anything that I thought, for me, felt danceable. And then I came across the Dumbarton Oaks composition by Stravinsky. And it's 3 sort of self-contained movements. Each of them have their own kind of feel. The first movement is very bright and bubbly. The second movement is very flirtatious and sensuous. And the third movement is very driving. It has this great pulse underneath. And immediately I was drawn to it for dancing. So in terms of my creative process, I usually listen to the music that I've chosen hundreds of times before I actually go into the studio. It is a very palatable, I think, piece of Stravinsky. It doesn't have a lot of dissonance in it. It has really nice melodic lines throughout it. It's just really, really a beautiful piece of music.
Balanchine created many works over his lifetime, and companies and schools around the world want to perform them. Serenade's really unique. It was the first ballet Balanchine made when he came to America, and he didn't have a company yet. He created it on his students. So it was a hodgepodge. He had 9 girls one day and 7 another day, and whatever worked, he just threw it together. So the core is really the main deal. The core to ballet, the body, is the group of dancers. There's more dancing for the core in Serenade than the principal dancers. So they come on, they go off, they run in 5, 7, 9, 17, whoever he had, and they get to dance a lot of interesting things. The audience will see all kinds of strange moments, and a lot of them are based on initial rehearsals, initial choreographic moments. When it was created, one of the girls fell, and Balanchine said, "Wonderful, dear, keep it in." Another part, a girl comes in late, she was running late, she comes in late, she's looking around, and then takes her place. I remember when I performed it, the overture, they're just some grand chords of the Tchaikovsky score, and we hear it through the curtain. But on stage, we're already in our places, and it's almost like spiritual. We're not chatting and practicing steps, we're all getting into the moment where we were told to shield some moonlight from our eyes. And then the curtain comes up and we hold that position for a count of 10. And usually the lighting is so stunning, there's applause when the curtain goes up. It's very exciting to be on stage and hear the collective inhale from an audience. That's very moving.
It's really amazing because Balanchine is very, iconic. So I feel that it was very empowering to be able to be around so many dancers, all the girls especially. We were all so moved, especially with the music as well. And, it's just an honor to be able to be working with incredible, ballet masters.
Serenade is one of those ballets that if I were to retire and not have performed it, I would have been very disappointed. So when I saw that it was on the roster for the season, it was super exciting and very rewarding to work with someone that has worked with Mr. B and knows so much about the Balanchine style and the ballet. It was wonderful.
It's an abstract work, but it also has ideas that are there that are meant to meet the audience halfway and beckon an interpretation or a response or a personal kind of a way of thinking about the movement that one can bring themselves to.
Working with the Atlanta Ballet Dancers is wonderful. They are very fast learners. They are very smart, beautiful artists. They really have taken to the work really well. I know that this is probably a lot faster and a lot jazzy than maybe they're used to moving, but they've really all been very open-minded. They've really approached the work just really with really openness. And I mean, I think that as a choreographer, that's all you can hope for when you come to work at a new company.
Made in Georgia.